Good morning. This is the meeting of the 12th of June for the Planning Committee of Macclesfield Town Council. And welcome all. Welcome councillors and Councillor Sarah Bennett-Wake, who is there observing. Thank you for coming. The first thing on the meeting is apologies for absence.
There are none, Chair.
Second item, declarations of interest. Any declarations? Yes?
Councillor Jackson.
Councillor Jackson. You got to unmute yourself,
Councillor
Jackson.
Yes, I've just done that. Takes a moment. My declaration of interest, it's a non-pecuniary interest in item 20/1975M at AstraZeneca. Just in the interest of openness, I'm a former employee. I worked for AstraZeneca for many years. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? No? Thank you very much. We will adjourn now for public speaking. And I think Councillor Sarah Bennett-Wake would like to speak on one item. Thank you. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for letting me observe today. Yeah, just on item 5, application 201975M, which is the AstraZeneca built single-storey extension building. Just as a town councillor for Macclesfield, I'm so pleased that they are making some extensions, and with the extra work that they're doing for COVID-19 research, we're all very proud in Herdsfield of the work that they're doing. They employ a lot of local people, and they also contribute a lot to the community. So I'd just like to say there's no objections here, and how proud we are of them.
Oh, thank you for that. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you so much.
Chair.
Yes.
Can I also comment on a correspondence from the public, which is, I think, item 10, is about from a resident of Witherfield Drive. We've discussed this matter. I've made a presentation at the planning committee before, and can I just reiterate once again the frustration and the distress that Henshaw's lorries and other contractors for Henshaw's going up and down the road, they're blocking the road completely. They're causing a great deal of distress under difficult circumstances. People are still isolating. As you can see from the photographs in the letter, it's a very small road, almost a cul-de-sac, with bungalows at one side and family houses on the other. I believe this is now going to a strategic planning meeting, and I'm hoping that, you know, we do make our case very strongly. Residents are now writing to their local LP, and I really hope this doesn't go through, because I absolutely despair, myself and Councillor Steve Coulter and the residents, you know, we despair at this now. We're absolutely disgusted with the lack of response from Henshaw's, and not stopping the activity and just carrying on without any planning permission. So it's just to reiterate that we do support the residents. Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll move on now to item number 3, to consider the draft minutes of the Planning Committee held on the 22nd of May 2020 as a true record. Yes, Councillor Jackson. Yes,
yeah, I'll propose those as a true record.
Is there any seconder? Yes, Councillor Edridge.
I'll second.
Thank you. I was not there, so we were calling a vote on that.
Yeah.
Yes. All in favor? Thank you. I think that's carried. There's no one against, and that's carried. Thank you. Any matters arising from those minutes at all? Any matters arising? No? Thank you. We'll carry on now with the observations on the planning applications. I won't read them out. I'll just read the number of them. So we have application 20/1814M. Would you understand anything of that? Yeah. Oxford Road.
Yes.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. This one is just along the road from me, so I know the area well. I've taken a close look at the application, and on the surface it looks fine, and I have no objection, but I did think that the parking arrangements looked very tight. They said there would be space for 2 vehicles, and within the site there would be turning space. I can't really see that. Maybe you know, I'm not looking at the plan correctly, but I think it's a bit tight. But saying that, when you look at the other properties along Oxford Road and their parking arrangements, I don't feel we can object to it. But I just raise that concern, really, that I think their parking arrangements are quite tight for 2 cars, and particularly if they wish to turn and come out forward facing onto that very busy road.
Thank you. Am I of the opinion that before it's granted that we have an observation from highways on those driveways, Councillor Jackson?
I didn't see anything when I looked earlier in the week. I haven't looked recently, but when I looked at that application earlier in the week, there was no comment from highways, I don't believe, or there was no objection.
No objection.
So it's just a point that I was making myself on it, really, that I think they might just find it tight if they've got 2 cars parked there to actually be able to get out in a forward manner.
Can we rule then that we do not have any objections, or we just have a concern?
Well, I think, in my view, it's no objection.
No objection.
Just
okay.
With concern around the space, the turning space, that they've got enough space to turn. Just that comment, really.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we are ruling that we have no objection. No objection. So we don't need a vote on that.
No, everybody in agreement?
Yeah.
No objection. Right, the next application is 20/2020M, first floor extension, and that's Bell Farm Court. Do we know anything about that? Did anybody? Bell Farm Court, Macclesfield SK 10 2JT.
Councillor Edwards wishes to speak on it.
Yes. Unmute yourself, please, Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, just to say that it is on Lloyd's and my patch, and we've got no objection. Well, I've got no objection. I don't know about Lloyd, and I do note that it does actually say delegated powers, but I don't know what the significance of that is. But anyway, I've got no objection.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, just for information, Councillor Edwards, any application that states delegated powers means it's delegated to the planning officer and doesn't go to
any further
committee. And that is 90% of our applications tend to be delegated powers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we're raising no objection then.
Councillor Roberts wanted to speak.
Oh, Councillor Roberts, yeah. Please unmute yourself, Councillor Roberts. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Just following on from Councillor Jackson, unless the application is called in by the local councillors.
Thank you. So we have no objection to that.
Yeah, everybody agree?
Anything came in? Yes, yes, Councillor Jackson. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yes. I was just agreeing. I was just putting my hand up to agree.
Okay. So there's no objection to that. Thank you. Move on. Application 20/191M. And that's no. Prestwick Close. Are we there? Prestwick Close.
Councillor
Single-story extension.
Councillor Edwards.
Yes.
Reading this report, I do note that Cadent, the gas people, have got slight concerns about the actual line of gas or whatever. But on the face of it, I've got no objection to it. Thank you.
Nothing came in. No objection then. There's no objection. Anybody else?
Recording, no objection, Chair.
No objection. Thank you. Next one. Application 20/1975M. Land adjoining AstraZeneca, which Councillor Jackson has an interest, non-pecuniary interest. Is that the one you had a non-pecuniary interest on?
Yes, that's the one I had a non-pecuniary interest on, yes.
Okay.
And I have no objection.
No? Anyone else? Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Edwards.
There is concern from the the Canal Trust about damage to the canal bank. As long as that's addressed, I've got no objection.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
It's recorded, Chair.
No objection. Thank you. Is that correct? No objection. Next one is number 20/2079M, single-story extension on Folly-Broom Road. Anyone to speak on Folly-Broom Road? No?
No objection recorded, Chair.
No objection. Application 20/2083M, single-story rear extension on Cornbrook Place. No? No objection.
No objection.
Nobody wishes to speak? Application 20/2076M, another single-story rear and side extension on Brinton Road. Anybody? No? No objection. Application 20/2101M, proposed side rear extension on 16 Riles Park Crescent. Any? No objection. Application 20/2059M, advertisement consent for 3 building signs on Craven House. Yes, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Chair. I was a little bit concerned initially about the actual design of it, in that I think it's still in the conservation area there, isn't it? It's just that the signs are just saying Lusso, L-U-S-S-O. I don't find them offensive. They are fairly modern, but I've got no objection. Thank you.
Okay. I have no objection. Councillor Jackson, no? No, 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 no objection then. Next one is application 20/2157M, change of use from B1 business to B1 use for the medical, health and dental on the ground floor of Beechwood Court. Would you, Councillor Jackson, is that in your area, Beechwood Court? No? Yes, Councillor Edwards?
Titherington.
It's in my patch on the business park in Titherington, and I've got no objection.
No? Okay. No objection. Application 20/2178M, proposed single-story rear extension and associated alterations on Blair Gowie Drive. What a lovely name. Yes.
Yet again, this is one of ours. No objections. Blair Gowrie, yeah. Thank you.
Application 20/2191M on Madron Avenue, proposed single-story side and rear extension to former kitchen. Anyone? Madron Avenue. No. We go on to application 20/2163M, two-story rear extension, Bait Mill Close. Any? No, no objection. Are we going here at the right thing here? It says 6 of the proposed radio base station. These numbering are, I don't know what these numberings. The radio base station installation on Goodall Street. Does anybody want to speak on that?
Chair, this is a pre-application consultation, just for clarification.
Right. To consider the comments on it. No.
Councillor Jackson wishes to speak.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had a look through the report and the plans, and it appears that this telecommunications post is already in that area on a building there on Goodall Street. That building is going to be redeveloped. So the telecommunications company need to recite their communications post, and it is going to still be within the site of those that area, that development area will be within that site. So personally, I have no objection to it.
No.
It's staying within the curtilage, being recited. So I have no objection, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I just wish to say that I was interested in the health hazards, and they didn't seem to be any in the past, and not envisage any for the future. So I think we're only commenting on that. So
I think, sorry, Councillor Roberts wanted to say something.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I'm not a big fan of these masts. So I think we all realise the need in this modern day to have them, and this is on a site that's already got the mast. It's just replacing it with probably a far better one. And obviously, the sooner it's done, the better, because we don't want people, especially at this time, losing out on communications when everybody's locked down. So whilst I'm not a big fan of them, I do realise the need for them, and especially in this area. So I will not be objecting to it.
Yeah. Thank you. We go on to item noted here 7.
Sorry, Chair, can I just clarify that there are no comments to return on this?
No comments, no comments, no comments. We're noting here now the Cheshire East Council strategic planning update. Anybody want to say anything about that? The planning update? Yes, Councillor Jackson. Yes.
I noted within the details that we received a report on the houses in multiple occupation, the Article 4 directions in Crewe, and the supplementary planning document. That in Crewe they are looking at bringing in an Article 4 directive about the HMOs in that town. And of course, with the COVID situation, the consultation has had to be put on hold. But I was just mentioning it because here in Macclesfield, the councillors here have been interested in the situation with HMOs in Macclesfield, houses of multiple occupancy, and that there may be an opportunity for us to introduce an Article 4 directive. So I think all I want to say is we'll be watching this closely, I think, to see what comes from that consultation when it happens, and then we can learn from that and see if then we want to take something forward for areas in Macclesfield.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson.
Comment. Thank you.
I was very interested in the article and wondered if we could not wait on a consultation, but look at our own percentages and see it in before we come upon the character assessment of Macclesfield. If we can put that in as a concern of HMOs, as it is affecting the character of the town. I don't know if we got to that yet, but I just feel that even in the light of the COVID situation, it is now coming to light that these kind of multiple living with poor amenities is a cost and has been a cost to health. And I wondered how far we can put that forward, even in the light of what's coming to Crewe, if we can look at that earlier rather than later. I just feel that HMOs are not homes for life. They're not homes for health. They're not homes for thriving. They're not homes for living healthily. And I just feel that HMOs are a backward step, and they are not a substitute for homes. So I just don't know how early we can have a look at that. So that's my comment on that. Anyone else wants to say anything? No? No. So we will look at that, and thank you, Councillor Jackson, for that. We come to 8, again, conservation area to monitor to note any updates. Anyone wants to say anything on that?
I don't think there's an additional update from the previous meeting whereby it will go forward as and when it can. It'll need to be kicked off. I think perhaps Town Clerk can just fill in any gaps that I have with a meeting with the Cheshire East Planning Department.
Okay, thank you. Do we want to say anything else about the town character assessment? Just to note any updates, or did we include that with what you just said? Yes, Councillor Jackson, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. With this item for the town character assessment and also the previous item for the conservation area review, at our last meeting we noted that we were waiting for a response, and on the conservation area review we asked for a meeting to be scheduled as soon as practically possible. And on the town character assessment, we were waiting for some confirmation from Cheshire East about how this was fitting with planning policies. We're having our meetings online now, so I would ask if we could push up on this and request an online meeting with the appropriate Cheshire East officers so we can pursue this. Otherwise, we just every meeting are going to be noting that we're waiting for a response. And really, we can meet online and have these discussions. And I'd like to push forward that we have this meeting. Should have been on the 4th of April. Let's get on with it and let's get the meeting happening, please.
Yes.
We have done that, Councillor Wilson. We are looking to arrange a meeting as soon as possible with Cheshire East planners who look like they would be able to proceed with an online meeting. It might not be via Zoom. And look at the existing planning policies within the context of town character assessment, and also to discuss moving on with the conservation area review. But I don't have a date for that as yet.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, because I think we, in the light of everything else, I think it's pertinent that we have that meeting, very pertinent, and I hope it is not in some long withdrawn future. Thanks for that.
Councillor,
the correspondence on Withyfold Drive.
Sorry, Councillor wish to speak.
Who does?
Councillor Edwards.
Oh yes, Councillor Edwards, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Just to say, to enlarge on what Harriet's saying about Zoom and so on, we have the incredible situation. I actually have 3 computers on my desk here. One is for Zoom, which we're using at the moment. Cheshire East uses Microsoft Teams, and Cheshire Fire Authority actually uses Skype. We are in such a mess, and the other day the meeting for health and on Cheshire East actually had to be abandoned. So the problem is going to be, if we have a joint meeting with Cheshire East, is what system do we use? Sorry, Pete, I bow to your superior knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Mate, thank you. We do use Zoom for this council. We found it perfectly acceptable as far as I'm aware. One technical hitch when the Wi-Fi dropped out, that would happen with anything. And we have had one meeting with Cheshire East over MS Teams for a small meeting, not a formal large meeting that's broadcast. So we can access informal meetings with Cheshire East officers through their preferred mechanism of MS Teams. It's not our preferred mechanism, but we're happy to.
Thank you. I must say, with this meeting, I'm so pleased that the town council does this so successfully, and that we can meet, and it's been a great. I still wait for the time when we will meet, but this has been successful so far, except on the odd occasion when I couldn't get in. But I'm grateful for that. Moving on. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on Withyfold Drive? Councillor Bennett-Wick, you don't wish to? Yes, Councillor Edwards. We have come to Withyfold Drive.
About Withyfold Drive, I would just like to emphasise that when this came up before us before, there were huge lorries going down the road bringing liquid concrete and stuff down, and I believed that we were told that oh well, they won't be going up and down there for long, they're just laying a base there and so on. And I do see that in the document that we've been provided today that there is an enormous lorry that is nothing to do with concrete at all. It's just a standard Henshaw's wagon messing up the traffic and so on. I would just like to note that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else? No?
Councillor Wilson.
Yes, Councillor Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. In respect to this application, we did agree at our meeting on the 1st of May that I would represent the Town Council Planning Committee at Northern Planning. I understand now that this has been referred to strategic planning, and the next strategic planning meeting is scheduled for the 24th of June. The agenda isn't available yet, but I will be keeping an eye on the situation, and I'll keep colleagues, councillor colleagues updated, but I am still keeping an eye on the situation, and I'm ready to speak in line with residents' concerns and this council's stated objections. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Members' items? None? We've come to the date and time of the next meeting, which is on the 3rd of July. And thank you very much for your input and your being there. And I think this has been a very successful meeting, and thank you very much. And I can close the meeting now.